All right, now we're going to do everybody's favorite quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is used when you can't simply solve using the diamond method or any other factoring method. You have gone over it in algebra, however, many students struggle for it, so I'm just going to show you some good techniques to use as you figure these out. Now you'll notice the formula is for x, but a lot of our problems use different variables. That's totally fine. We'll just be solving for m in that first one. So I'm going to go through a couple, and then there should be lots that you can do on your own. So I will just do a quick example for number 1. This is very basic. You're going to first identify your A, B, and C. So your A is the number with the squared, which is just the 1. Your B is the number with the regular variable, which is the -5 because you're subtracting. And your C is the constant, -14. Okay? Then what I like to do is just set up my equation. M equals the opposite of B. So the opposite of -5 is +5. Plus or minus the square root of, watch while I put -5 in parentheses, minus, and I put all this in parentheses, 4 times 1 times -14. All over 2a. Okay? What I like to do first is what's under the discriminant, or what's under the radical, which is called the discriminant. So I calculate that number first on my calculator, and I literally key it in exactly as I see it. And most of the problems that we work with are going to be nice, perfect squares, which means we won't get any nasty decimals, but there are going to be times where you get a decimal, okay? All right, so if you're doing that on your calculator, -5 squared minus 4 times 1 times -14. Whoa, what did I do wrong? Oh gosh, I put an 11. -5 squared minus 4 times 1 times -14. 81, which happens to be a perfect square. So, then I'm going to come over here, and we're going to be doing, m's going to equal 5 plus or minus the square root of 81 all over 2. All right? Now, I know the square root of 81 is 9, so here's where I start doing my other answers. You're going to have an answer, m equals 5 plus 9. Put that in parentheses if you're going to use your calculator in one foul swoop. Divide it by 2, and you're going to have an answer of 5 minus 9. Put that in parentheses over 2. Watch how I key that into my calculator. Calculator, did you freeze? My calculator froze. Okay. Oh, maybe not. All right. 5 plus 9 divided by 2. Or 5 plus 9, enter, divided by 2. So 7 is one of our answers. Do not do it like this. 5 plus 9 divided by 2. See? Don't do it. Either do it in 2 steps or use the parentheses. So in one case, m equals 7. And then 5 minus 9 divided by 2. And then in the other case, our answer equals -2. Okay? So that is a good example of how to use the quadratic formula. So using that example, you should definitely be able to do 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Keep in mind that as you move to 3 and 4, you can see that your A value changes. So in number 3, your A would be 2, your B would be 2, and your C would be -12. And lucky for you, they're all set equal to 0, so you don't have to do anything crazy yet. But if you move to number 7, you'll see that they're set equal to 4. Everything must be set equal to 0. So before you move on, you want to subtract 4 from both sides. And notice I put my 4 right under that constant because we can combine constants together. So then if you rewrite, you're going to be at 4b squared plus 8b plus, and then combine those, 7 minus 4, is 3. And now you can start using the quadratic formula. So a equals 4, b equals 8, and c equals 3. Okay? All right, now I'm definitely going to want to do one like number 8. Before you do anything, you got to get it set equal to 0. So add 10, and rewrite. 2m squared minus 7m minus 3 equals 0. All right, then you want to identify your a, b, and c. A is 2, b is negative 7, and c is negative 3. And you'll see why I wanted to do this one in a second. All right, so m or x, in this case it's m. M equals the opposite of b, so positive 7 plus or minus the square root of b squared, put it in parentheses, minus, put this in parentheses, 4 times 2 times negative 3, all over 2a. All right, so key that discriminant in your calculator, and we'll see, hopefully we get a perfect square, but remember, life is always not perfect. All right, so we got 73. Unfortunately, 73 is not a perfect square. However, I will show you how you're going to rewrite this. So if we move on through here, we have m equals 7 plus or minus the square root of 73 all over 4. Okay? So you're going to have one answer, which is 7 minus the square root of 73 all over 4. Watch how I'm going to key this in. 7 minus the square root of 73, enter, divided by 2. Or you could do, I'm sorry, it's divided by 4. Scratch that. 7 minus the square root of 73, enter, divide by 4, because it was 2a. Sorry. 7 minus square root of 73, enter, divide by 4. Okay, so one of your answers is this, negative 0.386. Let's do 2 decimals, so we'll leave it as m equals negative 0.39, so 39 hundredths. Or you could have keyed it in like this, 7 minus the square root of 73 divided by 4. Okay? And then you need to get an answer of m equals 7 plus the square root of 73. And if you key that into your calculator, 7 plus the square root of 73, enter, divide by 4. 3.886, which we're going to round to 3.89. Okay? All right, if you flip over to the back, you'll see that a lot of, oh dear, that's not the back. There we go. A lot of these you have to get your constants or your x's to the other side. I specifically want to look at 12. 12, we have to get that 80 to the other side. Where are you, pen? There you are. So subtract 80, and watch how this gets rewritten. 5r squared minus 80 equals 0. So then your a is 5. You don't have a b term, so your b is just 0, and your c is negative 80. Okay? In one, like number 13, you have to move that x to the other side. Minus x, and watch how I rewrite. I always write my x squared first, then your x term, and then your constant. And then you can start applying the quadratic formula. Okay, so one like number 15, you got to move everything to the other side. So if you add 6 to negative 31, and then you add 3k squared, and then you add 2k squared. I'm sorry, just 2k, whoops. And notice how I put the like terms around each other. So this ends up being 4k squared. These are gone, so you don't have a k, and then it's minus 25. So this would be another case where you don't have a b. Okay? So I think this is hopefully enough instruction. If you're still struggling, obviously ask questions, but your goal is to practice with the quadratic formula and finish this worksheet. There is also practice with the regular old factoring that we have done. All of these are not set equal to 0 though, so you have to set them equal, but they are very simple to solve. Okay? So you want to think what multiplies to 10 and adds to negative 7. So those two numbers are negative 5, negative 2. So then your real answers are 5. I think almost everybody is pretty good with this so far. So if you're struggling with the diamond method, please just see one of us and we can help you real quickly, okay? So your goal is to get the whole quadratics finished.